Hi there, my name is Patrick. In this presentation, I'll be discussing the environmental challenges that faces the city of Lagos. Starting from the introduction, I'll be discussing on providing a background information regarding the city. The city of Lagos is actually located in the western part of Nigeria, which is in West Africa. Um, Lagos happens to be the most populated city in Africa. The state is Lagos is also the state with the largest economy among all the 36 states that we have in Nigeria. Lagos is equally the fifth largest economy in Africa if Lagos were to be a country. It's also the most developed state in Nigeria. As a matter of fact, Lagos is regarded as the London or America of everybody in Nigeria. So basically, we have people from the rest of the state in Nigeria move from their state and travel down to Lagos to make a living for themselves. Just like the way people travel from Lagos or from Nigeria, from every other part of the world, especially in developing countries to places like US, Canada, Australia, UK for greener pasture. And that is how it is with Lagos. Lagos actually is actually the smallest state in Nigeria, even though it's the most populated state in Nigeria and the most populated city in the whole of Africa. And I must state that Lagos is also a multicultural society in the sense that it's almost impossible to find anyone in Lagos who would claim to be the true citizen of Lagos. Everybody came from um, different states and they all gathered together to live in Lagos. At the moment, Lagos is estimated to have about 20 million population. So these are the basic background regarding the city of Lagos. Um, the next slide talks about the issues that faces Lagos, the issues, the risk, and the problem, or more like the challenges, environmental challenges that Lagos is currently battling with. Um, Number one is that of poor waste management. The city is only able to recycle about 40% of our monthly generated waste. So the rest, they end up somewhere that they shouldn't be. Um, Somewhere like uh, waterways or drainages. So basically, we have residents or inhabitants of Lagos, dump their refuse. Whenever rain is falling, you find people come out and quickly dispose their refuse inside the flood, hoping that the flood will sweep it away from their uh, immediate environment. But what then happens is that the flood takes it to another place and dump in there, while the ones that is coming from another place get stuck in front of their own yard. And this is more like the vicious cycle that Lagos goes through year in year out. So at the moment, the state faces a lot of environmental challenges that's um, that is basically on account of the fact that it couldn't manage the waste that is generated uh, both from the individual residents and from industries that is scattered across the state. Like I said earlier, Lagos is the industrial hub of Nigeria, so it is expected that there will be a lot of waste generated from industries, and if these waste are not properly recycled or managed, they would pose a lot of environmental challenges, which is one of the things that Lagos is currently battling with. Another issue that Lagos is facing is that of air pollution as a result of heavy traffic and CO2 emission from industries. Yes, the CO2 part is actually as a result of the fact that Nigeria is currently battling with um, poor electricity. So, industries in Lagos are they majorly rely on um, diesel engine power generating sets to sort of generate their electricity. So even private businesses, local shops, and all of that. So they rely on personal generator to sort of generate electricity. So sometimes, or at most times, when you go to major markets in Lagos, uh, is you find generator almost everywhere working. So you have people inside the market. The market is choked up with the generating, with the fumes coming out of the generator, and people inhale this in and out every day, every month, every year. It has always been like that from the time immemorial. And we're just hoping that things will get to change um, soon. This has beginning to affect lives and properties. We've had instances that market got burned as a result of power generating set in the market. So we have a lot of air pollution in Lagos. Also, the fact that there are a lot of bad roads in Lagos and poor traffic management. Usually, when going out in Lagos, you have to be prepared to spend minimum 2 3 hours in traffic, depending on the area of the city you are going to. And that is how it is when you're going. You also experience that when you're coming. So a lot of vehicles are stocked up in traffic, releasing huge amount of um, carbon into the air. People inhale this in, the atmosphere is charged up, thereby contributing to the high rate of global warming that we currently experience in the world today. Another factor that Lagos is currently facing is that of water pollution. Like I said, waste is usually dumped into waterways, and you have a lot of rivers, a lot of ocean that is filled up with plastics and nylons and tires. And then we have industries that releases their um, oil, diesel, hazardous chemicals into gutters, and then these find their way back into waters that people are consuming. We have filling stations, and we have industries that are sited close to residential areas. We've had instances of um, filling stations where um, waters that is being used in the community and now bring petrol that is coming from the finish. So when people are drawing water from their well, they now have petrol inside the water as well. So these are some of the challenges that the environment is facing. We also have that of a responsible citizenship, which is on account of open defecation. So the usual practice in Lagos is when you are walking, you can be walking on major road, major streets, and you find feces all over the place, which is done by the inhabitants of the of Lagos. This we can say is on account of the fact that uh, there's poor planning, poor city planning in Lagos. We have houses where we have 30 people living in a particular house that can only boast of one toilet and one bathroom. So what people do is to just wake up early in the morning and quickly do it outside before everybody will wake up to see them. So this is the usual practice in Lagos, and you find this commonly in places like Mushin, Oshodi, Surulere. And these are the highbrow places in Lagos, and of course, I must acknowledge that they are more like the low end part of Lagos that is densely populated. So you find, you find garages littered with urine, you find garages littered with feces, um, defecation from people. You find even sometimes when you're going out in broad daylight, as high as 12 noon, 11 a.m., 2 p.m., you find people bending on major roads to quickly do their thing openly, uh, because they cannot find um, toilet they can quickly walk into at that moment. So these are the risk and the problems um, that Lagos currently experience. So the challenge is that all of these things put together, they sort of increase the rate of sicknesses and disease in the society. So we have health sectors that is usually filled up with patients that they do not have the capacity to cater for, and all of that. So these are the challenges we face in the city of Lagos. So my proposed changes will be that government will need to reduce the cost of waste disposal. So usually in Lagos, so if monthly fee for waste disposal is reduced to the amount that people would find a lot easier to pay, then it will curb the challenges of indiscriminate waste disposal in the city. This I found to be true. Personally, in my own house, we pay about $3 per month, and this is a society where the minimum wage per month is less than $60. So aside from every other bills that you have to pay, electricity bill, water, waste, transportation, and all that. So by the time people deduct all of this rent, transport, by the time people deduct all of these bills from their income, they are practically left with nothing to feed with. So what citizens do is to find a way to dodge some of these bills. So at the moment, like I said, in low end area, the least they will pay on waste disposal is $3, which is a lot, very high in this society. So if government can work on reducing this to an amount that people would be able to afford, I believe it will significantly reduce how people dispose their waste um, indiscriminately. Another option would be to sort of construct public toilet, like I outlined the challenges of open defecation. If there are public toilets stationed across the city in places like eateries, banks, garages, people will be able to walk in easily. Even though charges can be attached to this reasonably, but people would find it a lot more convenient to walk into these toilets to do their thing rather than exposing themselves and doing it in a way that it would harm the environment. Also, proper urban planning and restructuring. So what we find in Lagos is that we have houses that contains loads of people with poor. Uh, some don't even have toilet. They don't have water. They are just they are illegal structure, and governments see nothing wrong about these structures. So we have shopping centers that doesn't have toilet. So if people are allowed to construct structures without toilets, and these structures um, have loads, hundreds of people accessing them every day, so it is inevitable that will continue to have the challenges of open defecation. uh, you can simply impress your audience and add. So it is almost impossible that um, people would find it a lot more challenging to manage themselves in this kind of situation. So I believe that if government work on making sure that there's proper planning in terms of how we structure the environment, then the society will be a lot better than the way it is now. So we also need to deal with air and water pollution squarely. Industry should be sited away from residential apartments, and they should be given, close monitoring to sort of adhere to environmental safety policies rather than having filling stations, you know, being close to residential apartments. The government can put policies in place that ensure that these petrol stations are not in residential areas. That there's some form of distance between industries that uses harmful and hazardous substance away from waterways or from areas that can affect lives in the environment. Industries shouldn't be sited near agricultural land. So we have a lot of agricultural land that has been destroyed because industries were sited close to those lands. We have even had issues of poultry. I can remember at the back of my apartment, we have a poultry that is sited there, and the kind of toxic waste that comes from the poultry, it makes it almost impossible for people that lives around that area to continue to stay there. So the entire community had to you know to rise up against it and shut down the poultry. So these are the kind of challenges uh, that we face in the city of Lagos. So you have industries that practically link their waste pipe directly to the ocean, destroying the living things, the fishes and every other animals in the ocean without any concern to their own ecosystem. So they release harmful substance into the water bodies and destroy everything that comes out of it and all of that. So I strongly believe that if government put policies in place and monitor those policies and enforce it, then industries will be able to adjust and be more mindful of how their actions will impact the society. Proposed impact of the changes. So I believe that if these changes, for instance, the reduction in the outbreak of if some of these changes are put in place, I strongly believe that there will be reduction in the outbreak of diseases that we experience in the city. There are times that uh, when we go to hospitals in Lagos, all you just see is malaria, malaria, malaria. So you have people that you have a lot of children dying as a result of malaria, which is usually because of um, dirty waters that is stocked around the environment on account of the fact that these waters were unable to flow through because the drainages has been blocked uh, by waste. I believe that if these changes are put in place, we'll begin to have control over some of the disease that we experience in the city of Lagos. I also believe that these measures, if they are put in place, um, there will also be an increase in food production. Farming will be more productive as because the lands are no longer being affected by chemicals that is released upon them. So agricultural crops will be able to grow a lot better, and there'll be more food in the society rather than what we currently have now. Another thing is we have a cleaner environment. The city will be more clean. We have practically have trees planted being destroyed. Uh, tree, trees planted to sort of curb the effect of global warming are being destroyed on a regular basis. We have some of them being crushed by vehicles trying to find their way around traffic gridlock. So they just step on those trees and flowers without considering their impact in the society. So I believe some of these measures, if we are able to manage traffic, if we are able to manage the amount of vehicles on the road and all of that, we would have um, cleaner environment, and the trees will grow a lot more and be able to serve their purpose of helping us to reduce the amount of carbon that is present in the atmosphere. I also believe that these measures will reduce, sorry, the death rate. Nigeria death rate is alarming. the numbers of people that dies daily is beyond is beyond imagination. I could remember the last time I visited the neonatal ward in public hospital. Within 5 hours that I spent in the ward, I saw them wheel out about five babies that have passed away, and this is the usual experience um, in the Nigerian society. A lot of children, they die as a result of avoidable circumstances. They just die over little things. So I believe that if these changes are put in place, we would be able to, you know, reduce the death rate that the society currently experience, and also if government create more awareness so that people sort of know the impact of their actions on the society. So if people know that okay, all of these actions, all of these things that they are doing is what is contributing to the increase in death rate that is being experienced, I believe that people begin to adjust their lifestyle and begin to, sort of um, make contribute to the well-being of the society. Individuals' environmental sustainability plan. Okay, so the first thing I have here is to manage and dump waste responsibly. As an individual, it is important that we ensure our personal waste are disposed properly. Rather than taking the option of dumping it in waterways or waiting for rain to fall to quickly dump our waste, I personally believe that if we sort of after government reducing the fee, of course, if everybody adopt the policy of dumping their waste through the right channel, then we will surely have the environment become clean. Also, prepare melter appliances for recycling. This is what I personally do in my house. So we have metal collectors that pass around the environment. So what I do is to ensure that every melter store, I ensure that they are sorted out and packed in a place. And I just call on those guys. They pack it up and they even pay for it. So, but perhaps we in the city of Lagos we have a lot of vehicles that have been destroyed. They are just left on the road to wreck and they rot on the road. All the chemicals, all the broken metals will fall off. Rain will hit it, and then everything will be washed down into, uh, you know, washed into the waterways, and also contributing to the destruction of the society. But this um, vehicle can be sold to metal collectors who will then break it and recycle it for whatever purpose they want to use it for. So I believe taking these measures is part of our individual's responsibility as a citizen of the state. Prepare metal. Okay. So another thing that we can do as an individual is to reduce our energy consumption. I always ensure to turn off electrical appliances um, in my home whenever they're not needed. I've practically eliminated the usage of washing machine. We now prefer to wash with our hands. We believe that if everybody can do all of these things, we believe that it will possibly impact our environment. We don't use electric gas cooker. We don't use electric cooker. Rather, we prefer to use the one that we believe will um, reduce the rate of energy, considering the fact that the society is even battling with uh, very poor electricity. So alternative means of cooking and should be um, fully utilized rather than depending on electricity at the moment. Also, we all have in my house we have transport card, which is what we practically use our as our means of transportation, because we believe that this would sort of help the society to reduce the amount of vehicle that is usually on the road. Everybody wants to drive out, which is understandable considering the fact that transport is one of the biggest challenge in Lagos. But the government is working on putting public transport in place, even though it can be expensive sometimes. But I believe this taking this approach is helping the society to manage the rate of emission and to sort of manage um, the environmental challenges that comes from you know traffic and the increase in number of vehicles on the road. So this is an example of the transport card that we have. So we have two of these in my household for every one of us to use. When we are going out, we use it to move. So this is an example of what we can do as an individual to sort of help the society to become more sustainable, to promote environmental sustainability. Thank you.